Hi everyone, Mai's here, and I am today with my dear friend, Lady Jin. She is a sexuality and relationships coach, and particularly, she's also certified erotic blueprint coach, and erotic blueprint becoming this new sexy phenomenon. So, I would like her to share a little bit about what is erotic blueprint. And before we dive into that, I want to say that she's one of the guest teachers for Irresistible Woman 10-week journey that begins November 14th. And for women who are looking to awaken and get deeper in touch with their sensuality and sexuality, Erotic Blueprint offers a map. And that's why I would love her to bring her gift and genius into this course and to give this very safe tool to start exploring your eros. So, Jin, please share a little bit about Erotic Blueprint and why you decided to add this modality to your Tantra and conscious sexuality experience.
Beautiful. Thank you for your introduction, Maya. Hi, I'm Lady Jin. And it's such a pleasure for me to have this conversation and also honored to be your guest teacher. And I was a guest teacher in the last round, and I really enjoyed it. And now I will even bring more of what my own transformation and what I know and practice in Erotic Blueprint and share that with your audience. Yeah. Yeah, so a little bit about me. My journey as a sexuality and relationship coach actually started about 7 or 8 years ago. But before that, I had a totally different career. Before I become a full-time coach, I worked at a global media and information company and as a business director. So I really worked quite hard to climb the corporate ladder. But something happened. Something happened in my personal life that despite how much achievement I have made externally or follow the street smart way, follow the book smart way, I feel very unfulfilled. Specifically in my love and sex life, I find I was not really speaking up for what I desire. Or to start with, I couldn't really put some words around what I really desire and to communicate that clearly and unapologetically with my partner or lover at different times. And at a certain point, I had a big breakup happened in my own life. And I feel like that was my wake-up call to claim my fulfillment, my pleasure, and my sexuality without counting or relying that I have to have a perfect partner in life to do that together. And now looking back, my journey, it's not an easy journey at all, but it's so rewarding. Now my entire perspective has shifted that being confident and irresistible and so comfortable and confident with my own desire, with who I am and what I need and want, and play full out in any relationship I am in. It can be a romantic relationship or, friend relationship. But really, I feel that kind of juice and unapologetic attitude is coming from a deeper space. It's not from how much education I've had, what's work title I have claimed in corporate world, but it's coming from owning who I am and knowing my worth. Yeah.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for saying this because to me, you are embodiment of irresistible woman, a woman who owns herself, who owns every aspect of herself. Because at the beginning of our journey, I think we all trying to like and claim and show off that like approved and acceptable part of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, right? Like, look at me, I'm doing everything right. Like
Yes.
following all this,
Check the box.
all the boxes checked. And how many women, right? And in my like late 20s, I was one of them, beaching out of like, I'm so amazing, and yet why am I single? You know,
Yeah.
love life is not working out. And I think many women will fall into this trap where we try to feel the societal expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and then not knowing how to listen to ourselves, and then accepting and allowing our own desires to come into fruition, asking for it or saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially when it comes to corporate career, sometimes it's again following what expected of me,
Mm-hmm.
but might not necessarily be my passion or my gift or my purpose.
Yeah.
And to be able to stop and acknowledge that there is deep unfulfillment within me and I need to do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
Courage and its commitment. And this is what I call choosing yourself. And choosing yourself can be scary. And I would like you to share a little bit about the courage piece.
Yeah.
How was that to let go that good girl,
Mm-hmm.
stepped into this? I totally call you Sensual Goddess. You want sensual women, I know. How was that transition for you personally?
Mm-hmm. The courage. It's highly related to the wake-up call. And at the beginning, a lot of emotions are associated with disappointment, sadness, feeling mistreated and unfair. I feel the world was not treating me fairly, and I feel hugely let down by people I trusted and loved. Right, specifically was coming out of a very important relationship for me, but the relationship not only changed from day to night. Suddenly the day before I feel I was in heaven, and then a few days later I was in hell. That's such a big change. Really shake me, and awake me that there's nowhere to hide. I can no longer telling myself that just keep doing what other people are telling you to do and things will be all right. So I don't wish anything like that happened to people, but when it happened, now when I look back, I know it happened for me. It's a pretty, I would say, pretty courageous journey for me. But now when I'm out of it, when I'm out of that kind of self-doubt and disconnected from my inner being and disconnected with my sexuality from that bottom until now, I feel it's all worth it. It's all worth it. It takes some time. And I really, I'm a coach, and I share that with my clients, men and women, right? How to help them reclaim their confidence and really be in touch with their essence, so that their confidence is coming from a non-deniable place, not from, people tell you you need to be confident, but we all know we can be pretending if we only know it in our mind. Yeah, and the Erotic Blueprint has played a very important role in my own journey of connecting and owning my sexuality. Yeah.
How come? Share a little bit more.
Yeah, so Erotic Blueprint is a simple but yet very profound framework. So I say it's simple because when people hear about it, usually the introduction is about their 5 types. Mm-hmm. Basically, it means there are different types for each person, regardless your gender, regardless your sexual orientation. How you really access your turn on and how your turn off shows up in your verbal expression, in your body, in your reaction to connection, and in your reaction to touch. So most of the time, people are so hardwired or brainwashed to perceive that there's only one type of turn on, there's only one type of orgasm or two maximum, for women. And there's certain ways of performing, behaving, or experience orgasm and pleasure. However, there's such a big ocean there, our capability in each person, that how much and how differently, how diverse we can experience pleasure. So Erotic Blueprint gives that map and also gives a language for each type to express their pleasure, not in the way we usually will see from porn, right? So this is very simple when we say like there are 5 types: energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky, and the shapeshifter, right? It sounds very simple. Oh, okay, I will put myself in a box. No, just hold on there, right? That's a very, I would say it's a very beginner step for us to know that we are different, but we also have a lot of shared commonality. And then once we dive into the type and really feel and connect with our body and see how the different types and pleasure and arousal show up through touch, through communication, and psychologically, emotionally, physically. And then there's a deep ocean there for fun and for a lot of discovery for every single person. That's why I call it is also profound. Yeah.
And you know what I also think while you were talking, it kind of like hit me that it is just an opportunity, especially for women, give safety and reassurance to ask for what you want.
Yes.
Sometimes we have a desire and we might be afraid to ask for it, right? Because maybe there's conditioning, or it should be less sexual, or like, why that turn me on? Does that mean that like something's wrong with me? How often women go
absolutely
permission? Because for me, when I did the test, my answer, and I did it, I think like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when it was not as a big deal as now. And my answer was kinky. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm so But in reality, I knew that when you add a little bit of playfulness and sensation, it really sets me on fire.
Yes.
So once I learned that, it actually gave me permission to own it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great point you just brought up. The language, I call it, is this language for sex, language for pleasure, right? Language and map. It gives us so many options, right? It gives us, how do we describe our pleasure, right? I mean, I never learned in school, all the way to my graduate education, right? How to communicate, pleasure in my body. No, right? And gives a language and also gives a permission that, hey, just so you know, if your pleasure type, if your turn on is not the sexual way as often seen in porn or some, movies, it doesn't mean it's something wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. It's really about your primary type is different than sexual.
Yeah.
And sexual is just one type. It is a type, but it's one type, right? And also gives so much permission for us to say it out loud and connect with like-minded people. I've worked with men, women. I can't tell you how many people feel there's something wrong with them if they are energetic type, if they are kinky type, because to start with, most of people have very narrow definition how pleasure should look like. I mean, coming from that place, it seems like we only have one type of pleasure, right? And even for that one type, we need to hide, right? Because it's too much, right? I often heard from, oh, that's too much. If sexual is my primary type, it's too much. I want to be sensual because, is that right? Like women needs to be sensual. There's nothing to be need or should. Is really our bodies don't lie. Our bodies don't lie. Rather than fighting with what our body like, the better way is to connect with it and practice how we can receive the pleasure and also expand. Expand means you are not going to be this forever. You can expand into different pleasure zone, which is great. And that requires a mindful practice.
100%. And, I also think that it's the more you comfortable with your sexuality as a woman, the more permission you have for yourself to carry that confidence in every other area of your life. Our sexuality, to me, is the most vulnerable topic. Because we cannot hide. In sex, we cannot hide. If we hide sex, then we robbing ourselves from pleasure and from the experience. So for any woman who experiencing this hiding survival pattern, I would say getting introduced to Erotic Blueprint and claiming her sexuality, sensuality first would be a great start to then start coming out from this veil in every other aspect of her life. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I saw that in myself. I saw the transformation and change in myself, right? So I was highly educated and know how to, put things together, right, at business world. However, I know that the confidence and the comfort with my own body and comfort with my desire and the ability to speak up and communicate, express myself now, after I have done my self-work to connect and own my sexuality, is 10 times, or actually even higher, 10 times, 100 times higher than the confidence I used to have. And because now what I have is from the really, really authentic place, and owning who I am and owning every aspect of me, including the parts I used to dislike. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Irresistible is being whole. And I really like how you said owning even things that I don't like about myself.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I am super excited and looking forward to bring your magic into this container. The previous cohort of women gave like raving reviews for your work. So I am very excited to give women opportunity to kind of like step in fully into your sexuality with this very safe map that helps you to navigate it and actually get out of a shame and guilt box that we might be put through religion, or I don't know, family, or abuse, or I don't know, whatever expectations we might have for ourselves.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to meeting this cohort very soon. And if you want to know more tips about Erotic Blueprint, and I do share it regularly on my Instagram, you can find me at I am Lady Jin. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'll see you all November 14th.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, watch the show Sex, Love, and Goop on Netflix.
Yay. Yeah. It's an amazing show. Amazing.
Bye.